and independents who lean Democratic that they would want to make the choice themselves. Now, I recognize that this is chaotic, that we've never had this happen before, that there is no process right now, but I can also tell you that I've spoken to 3 potential Democratic candidates in varying degrees of making the decision whether or not to challenge for this. And the consensus is that the Democratic Party in general, and Vice President Harris in particular, would get hurt with a coronation, that it's better for her to earn it through debates, through conversations, and through a convention than it is for them to just bestow the nomination on her.
OK, Frank Luntz, thanks very much indeed for your insight. We've had another statement from Gretchen Whitmer, Michigan governor, saying President Biden is a great public servant who knows better than anyone what it takes to defeat Donald Trump. My job in this election will remain the same, doing everything I can to elect Democrats and stop Donald Trump, a convicted felon whose agenda of raising families' costs, banning abortion nationwide to settle his own scores is completely wrong for Michigan. You are watching Sky News, and a reminder of the breaking news tonight. President Joe Biden has withdrawn from the US presidential election race. In a statement calling on his fellow Americans, he reminded them of his legacy, of his achievements during his time in office over the past 3.5 years. He then went on to say, "It has been the greatest honour of my life to serve as your president, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term." He then goes on, "I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me re-elected. And crucially," he says, "I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work." A swift response then from his opponent until tonight in this US election race from Donald Trump, saying Biden is out. If Biden isn't fit to run, he isn't fit to be president. Hundreds of millions of Americans and the world depends on POTUS being of sound mind and body, ! It's no longer a joke, and Democrats can't keep pretending that he's in charge. Enough of this nonsense. So clearly there, President Trump not just satisfied with the fact that Joe Biden has pulled out of the US presidential election race, but also saying he isn't fit to be president. President Joe Biden making it clear that he intends to stay in office until the results of the US presidential election 2024. You're watching Sky News. The 46th president of the United States has decided to withdraw from the election race. Let's speak to Niall Stanage, the associate editor at The Hill. And Niall, what an extraordinary moment in US political history.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to take a breath and just reflect on what a historic moment this is. Saima, the first president since Lyndon Johnson in the late 1960s to decide against a run for re-election. More dramatic, if anything, in President Biden's case, deciding to step aside, I think an effort to perhaps protect his legacy, but also a recognition that following that catastrophic debate performance on June 27th, he was almost inevitably going to lose to Donald Trump if he pressed ahead. And even I think his staunchest allies would have thought that would be a very sad way to go out for a man who has been in public service, after all, for half a century.